kid at heart playing games in the shadows.
This is Weekend Calling with Claire Kerr on NLive Radio in association with the Retro Charts. I'm delighted to be having a chat today with pop star, smash hit writer and producer, Mr. Barry Blue. Barry, welcome to my show.
Hello, Claire. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you
Good.
doing yourself?
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah,
wonderful. Fine. Now, I know we're going to talk about what you're up to now, but I'd like to start, if I may, going right back to when you were a child and you first found your love for music. Didn't you buy your first guitar with your paper round money?
I did. I was about 7, and I remember my sister was going out with a guy who was a songwriter, and he was working at a club called the Two Eyes, which was a place in Soho, and he used to come over and he used to play these songs and write these songs, and I thought it was a really good thing to do. So he said one day, well, why don't you pick up a guitar? I've got one here, and we'll try and write a song together.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan. And it wasn't any good, but the idea struck in my head, and I've been writing ever since, I suppose, really.
Yeah, indeed. Didn't you do later on as a teenager a talent show, kind of the equivalent of probably Pop Idol nowadays, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. When I was at school, we had a school band called the Dark Knights. The reason they were called the Dark Knights is because the drummer's surname was Knight, and his dad had the post office van, so we had to call ourselves the Dark Knights. Otherwise, he wouldn't take us around for gigging in to all these little places we used to play. But anyway, we had a school band, and we entered a talent competition. It was on, I think it was on Granada TV. It was up in Manchester. And it was called Stubby K's Silver Star Show.
Okay.
Which, I don't know if you remember Stubby K. He was this very American actor that played a lot of parts. He was in one called Guys and Dolls. He was in the film Guys and Dolls.
I like his name.
Yeah. Anyway, we were on his show, and we kept, it was a junior talent show. And we kept winning it. And in the end, we won the coveted Silver Star.
Yay!
Yeah. The only problem is that show was on TV, and the school's programs started about 10 minutes afterwards. And my headmaster was involved in the school's program, and he saw me on TV. So we had a big problem.
Oh.
I thought you were supposed to be in school. You're one of our pupils, aren't you? And I said, well, sorry, but I've been up north and doing this TV show.
Music business comes first over education.
Oh.
It's obviously paid off for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it has in a way.
And didn't you write a song and patiently wait outside of a stage door for Mr. Gene Pitney? You penned a song that you really, really wanted him to listen to and him to sing.
Do you know what? There's a word for it called Hutzpah, which means you've got the courage of your convictions when really you shouldn't have at such a tender age. But I was about 15, and I really thought this was about my 4th song in, and I thought this song is great for Gene. Gene Pitney was a very big artist in the 60s, major artist. I thought this would be great for Gene Pitney, and everyone looked at me as if I was mad. But anyway, I knew he was playing at the London Palladium. So I went down to the London Palladium, and I knocked on the stage manager's door, and he said, well, what do you want? And I said, I've got a song for Gene Pitney. He said, well, who are you? I'm a songwriter, and this is my song. Will you give it to him, please? And he wouldn't let me in, but he let me give him the package with the song in it. Well, I cut a long story short. About 5 years later, and a record came out with my song on it, with Gene Pitney's name. He'd put the song out, but over the 5 years, I hadn't heard from him because I didn't put my address on the envelope or my name.
Schoolboy error.
Schoolboy error. Eventually, he tracked me down, and instead of being unknown, it was Barry Green, because that was my real name.
Oh yeah, you've changed the colour of your surname over the years as well. Why was that?
Because I'm stupid. No, the reason being is because Green, I had 3 records out under the name of Barry Green. They were released in the late 60s, early 70s, and they were spectacularly unsuccessful. So on the day when Decca, it was with Decca Records, they said to me, you know, Barry, this isn't really working. These records are not, you know, they're not happening. I said, well, what do you think the problem is? And the A&R man, who is the guy who looks after you, he said, well, it could be because green is such an unlucky colour in the music business. And I said, I've never heard of that. He said, oh, yeah, it's well known. In the theatrical business, you never wear green to go on stage, and you never do this with green. And I thought, oh, well, maybe he's got a point. So I changed it to Barry Blue.
I much prefer Barry Blue.
Has a certain zing to it, doesn't it?
Of course it does. Yeah, it's like Claire Kerr, Barry Blue. And
Claire
blue is my
Kerr,
favourite colour.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been Barry Blue ever since. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's certainly been very, very successful for you, hasn't it? Because what did you go on to do later with your bass playing and next, I guess?
Well, I suppose the next thing was that I met up with a fellow songwriter called Lindsay DePaul, who she was a Hornsey art student, and but she was a secret songwriter, and for some reason we connected via a label called ATV Kirshner. Don Kirshner was an American guy. He was in the music business, and his idea was to have a kind of Tamla Motown writing system whereby you used to go into an office at 9:30, you used to write all day till 5:30, and you used to have to come out with a song at the end of each day.
That's extremely disciplined, isn't it?
Very disciplined, but it was very well documented back in the late 60s. There was another company called the Brill Building, where you had Goffin and King, and you had Neil Sedaka, and you had Lieber and Stoller, and these were very famous writers, and they all wrote in the same way. They all had their own separate little cubicles. They all used to go in, write a song, and then present it at the end of a week to a panel. And that's what we had to do. We were the first 2 writers in England or in the UK to utilise this system of writing songs.
I quite like the idea of that. So I imagine this cubicle to be quite small. What was it like? How was it decked out for you?
It was really small. We were given a little Revox, which is a little reel-to-reel recorder. I had my 5-string guitar, kept breaking the top E string, so it was always a 5-string guitar. Lindsay would bang away on a really old piano. I don't know where, it was so out of tune. But we used to make it work. And I remember in those days of writing songs where that less was more, because I used to write with another guy called Roger Greenaway, who was another famous writer. He wrote many, many hits. And he used to write with me on a banjo. And we always said, if it works on a banjo and it sounds good on a banjo, you can imagine what it's going to sound like if you put a band on it. And that's true. So we didn't have any of the toys that you got now, computer systems and things.
And so that writing kind of then launched you into your pop career, didn't it? As a pop star. Yeah.
Well, the weird thing is both songs that we came up with 2 big songs in about a 3-week period. All the rest were thrown away. The 2 songs that people said, well, they're okay, but let's see if we can get any artists on them. One was called Sugar Me, which Lindsay went on to have a big hit with. And the other one was Dancing on a Saturday Night, which I had a big hit with. And these 2 songs were rejects from everywhere else. No one else wanted to cut them. Originally, Peter Noon was going to cut Sugar Me, Peter and Herman's Hermits, and they never did it. So we kind of did these demos. We thought, well, what should we do now? So Lindsay said, well, why don't we put them out ourselves? So she did. She found a manager. She put her record out herself, and it was very successful. And I thought, well, this works. I'll put my one out myself. And it was successful.
Huge.
So, we were kind of pushed onto sort of stage with, I really wanted to be a writer. I wasn't really, meant to be a singer, but it worked.
So out of your cubicle and onto Top of the Pops.
Yeah, with all me glam rock gear.
And what did that feel like?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. I met some great people. I met some great artists. I met Bowie. I met Queen. I met, you know, Mark Bolan. We were very, very tightly. It's a very tight clique of artists in those days that used to do Top of the Pops, and we had a lot of fun. It was great rivalry, but there was great fun in it as well. So I enjoyed those days, and you know, I look back on them with fond memories. It sometimes is a bit of a monkey on your back because people think that that's all you've ever done. Because, you know, I've got more of a
But of course,
backstory.
you've done so
Yeah,
much more, and you went into this
yeah,
production side of things. And we've got to talk about Heatwave, haven't we? And
yeah.
more specifically, Boogie Nights. Now, you know, that is an absolute classic. It's never, ever going to go out of fashion. It's got so much appeal. It's a brilliant, brilliant song. And you produced it, my word, you know, even tell me about the intro, because I know that you're responsible for that kind of dreamy, funky harp intro too.
Well, it's the reason I work with Heatwave is really odd because I came out of glam rock. I was a pop singer, and Heatwave were an R&B funk act. You know, they were really really cool act. And for some reason, Rod Temperton, who wrote all those songs, he also wrote Thriller and Rock With You and many other songs for Michael Jackson. He approached me and he said, I heard some of your records through the record company that, you know, we're with, and I really like what you're doing, and you produced your own records, didn't you? I said, yeah, I did. He said, well, come down and see this new band I'm working with. They're really cool. They're all from Germany except me. I'm from Grimsby. This is Rod Temperton, the #1 songwriter. I said, cool. So I went to see Heatwave and fell in love with them. They were a brilliant band. And cut long story short, we went into the studio. Rod played me the beginning of Boogie Nights. Was nothing like how it came out. And I said to him, why don't we do something really original? Because I've always thought that to make a record stand out, it's got to have something that catches your ear within 30 seconds.
Agreed.
And that's what I did on my one. On Dancing on a Saturday Night, we had a bouzouki on it, which was a Greek instrument. And on Lindsay's Sugar Me, I put on a gypsy violin, which hadn't been done before. So on this one, I said to him, well, why don't we start off like a jazz funk record, you know, like in 6/8 time, and we'll put harp on it. And this was just a weird, and everyone said, no, this group is a dance band, you know, this is disco, this is club, this is funk. You can't put on a harp and make it all jazzy. And in the end, I insisted, I suppose, and Rod went along with me, and it came out. It didn't come out the first single because everyone was scared of this intro. It came out the third single off the album, and it became an absolute, as you say, a monster hit all over the world.
Brilliant song. Yeah, and it's all dreamy, and then it just punches in then, doesn't it? It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I still think it's one of you know, one of those classic records which you can't capture. It's just one of those things that just happen, and you don't know why it's so big, but you know,
it's brilliant. It's amazing. I mean, huge congratulations to you on that. Fantastic work indeed. And you've done other stuff. You've done so much stuff. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with all of the stuff you've done, but I know that we should probably talk about what you're up to now and nowadays.
Well, this is a strange story, I suppose, because for the last 20 years, I've been listening to all the stuff I've produced and written for other people, songs I've written for other people. And there's always been a kind of a dozen songs which I thought, I wish I'd have done that a different way. Or I wish I hadn't given that to another artist. Or I wish it had come out a different way than it actually came out. So I thought, well, what I'll do is, if you want to use a bird analogy, I thought, well, this is my swan song, or this is putting all my ducks in a row. What I want to do is I want to take those songs and I want to go back to the way I originally wrote them. And how did I originally write them? Well, we wrote them on a basic guitar and a piano and nothing else. There was no other instrumentation on them. And we'll see what happens. And that's what I did for the last 3.5 years. I've been doing this album called Songs from the Heart Book. And it's the songs that really have touched me, you know, and that's why it's called Songs from the Heart Book. It's songs that mean a lot to me, songs that I think have got a bit lost along the way, songs that haven't kind of captured the magic that I thought they would have first time round, even though some of them were hits. And I've taken them and I've made them into this album, which has been a labour of love, really.
Ah, well, the
So,
EP is beautiful. The songs, we must talk about the songs on the EP, which is out now, isn't it?
yeah, we've got
Sort of as the preview to
yeah,
the album.
yeah. It's one side is a song called "Crime to Be Cool," which is a play on words. I'll explain in a minute. And the
Okay.
other song is "Escaping," and
I
"Escaping" was
love
done by recorded by Dina
Dina
Carroll.
Carroll.
Yeah, and it was a song that actually had been a hit in about 6 or 7 different countries by different artists. So it's actually been a song that's been around for a while. And I always thought it needed to be much simpler because it's quite a complicated song. There's lots of chords in it, and it's got lots of changes and quite an interesting lyrical idea. So I took it back to the roots. You know, I got rid of all the overblown productions that had been done on it.
It is. It's
And
very different, isn't it?
yeah, it is. And, you know, some people might say, well, I prefer that version or this version. But it was something I needed to do for that
Yeah, I
song.
love that acoustic arrangement. It's
Thank you.
yeah, it's really beautiful, and you can really notice the lyrics actually.
Well, that's it. You know, I've gone back to singing. Thank goodness my voice hasn't gone, I don't think. I think it's kind of improved in a way because it's like an old Scotch.
You sound great.
It's matured. And so I can now perform those songs the way I want to perform them, you know. And I'm very proud of the album. It's taken 3.5 years. And I've put it together with another album called Songs from the Lost Book, which
Yeah.
songs that I haven't had out yet.
Yeah.
That never got released from the 80s and the 90s. And we'll see what happens.
It's very, very exciting. So we've got the EP Boy in the Moon, which is,
Yes.
that's the title track, Boy in the Moon, which is written when your son was born.
Yes, that song is a very special song to me. It was written because my wife and I had problems having children, which I know a number of people do. And when he was born, it was like a shining light in our lives. And I always thought that shining light. Now, what does that mean? Well, you look up at the moon, and the moon looks back at you and shines into your room, and makes everything seem right again.
Perfect.
So it's probably the best. Well, my favourite lyric I've ever written on a song.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, I really like that.
It's like the guardian angel, isn't it?
Yes,
that
that's
kind
right.
of thing.
It kind of encumbers you. It covers you, and it's got a nice feel to it. And I don't think when I put out this record, I don't think about charts, and I'm not interested in whether people see it a different way from me. I just wanted to state my case on it,
Absolutely.
and hope people like it. That's all I can do.
Yeah. And then there's Lost for Words, which you wrote and performed at your daughter's wedding.
I did.
What an amazing thing to do.
The title says it all, really, because I actually took a sneak when she had her wedding dress fitting. I took a sneaky look.
Naughty!
I know. But then when she got married and she came down the stairs, and it was written as a poem, effectively. Really, it started off as a poem, but the lyrics just poured out. They just poured out of me, and I knew I had to do it as a song, and I had to sing it at her wedding, which I did. And it's quite an emotional thing to do. It's quite an emotional song.
There wasn't a dry eye in the house.
There was not a dry eye in the house, including mine.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing.
So that's on the EP, and that's on the album as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I can sort of understand how these are so personal songs. These are kind of your life story, the things that you haven't then had the chance before to make your own, which you wrote, so why shouldn't you share them and make them your own?
Well, I'm sharing them, and I'm hoping people, listen to them again with different ears, and see what happens next.
Yeah, Yeah, it's
And,
very
and then
exciting.
hopefully when all this time is finished with this this COVID, maybe I'll go out on the road and we're going to do some Q&As with the little band so people can ask me questions on the songs. I can tell them songs I've written, because a lot of people don't know that I've done sort of, I've got another backstory. You know, I
Yeah.
just wasn't a singer.
Yes. You've
in
done
the
so
same,
much.
most people think I just did dancing on a Saturday night, and
Yeah.
then what happened to him? He's, you know,
Yeah.
he's done something completely different. But I've always been writing songs.
Yeah.
You know, I always
Yeah.
will.
Huge career, just so many things that you've done it. So this chapter and verse, and this 50 years on, it also comes with an edited autobiography too for us to read.
Oh, it's this book. It's called Barry Who, which is a kind of a play on words.
See, and if you'd have kept green, you couldn't have used that, could you?
No, exactly. But it kind of sums up what I've just been saying.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what else have you done? And this book kind of lays it all out, all the stories, all the vignettes, all the kind of sort of up and downs and highs and lows I've had in my career as an artist, as a songwriter, as a producer.
Have you got a mini teaser?
Sorry?
Have you got a mini teaser for us from the book?
Oh, well, there's stories about how I turned down Wham, how George Michael lived 200 yards from where I lived, and
Wow.
and his dad was a restaurateur. We used to go into his local restaurant in near where I live, and he used to play me that George's tape thing, and very broad Greek accent. Yeah, George he's a wonderful singer. You must listen to him. So it used to drive me mad, Jack. I said, okay, well, send George over and let me listen. And this was the time when I was writing and producing for so many acts, for Bananarama, for Dina Carroll, for this one, for that one. And in the end, I said to George, I said, you've got a great voice. I love the songs. I love what you're doing with Andrew. I'll get back to you. I've just got to finish this project. Well, by the time I got back to Wham and the project, they were already number 4.
Oh.
So, you know, there we are.
Never mind. You've done loads of other great stuff. Doesn't matter about that.
No, doesn't matter about that, or the Jacksons, or a few other acts that I've passed. You know, you do that. You do.
Yeah.
You kind of you think, oh, I'm going to do this project because I really, really want to do this one, and then you pass something which is huge. You pass it by, but that's what happens, you know.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie, as they
C'est la
say.
vie. So this, we can get hold of your album. It's on pre-order now, isn't it? The album
on pre-order.
Yep.
If you go to if you go to my website,
barryblue.co.uk.
Well done, yeah, because I forgot it. If you go there, you can pre-order the album, and it comes with the 3 set CDs. So it's songs from the Heart Book, songs from the Lost Book, and a podcast I've done of you know, an hour and a half of my life, and the book Barry Who. So
brilliant. And when's it out?
September the 18th.
Not long to wait now, is there? Not long
No,
to wait, but we can get the EP now. It's available right now on Apple Music and various platforms.
It's on. It will come out. I think it's out at the end of this month. It's Crime to Be Cool on one side, Escaping on the other, and it's a kind of teaser for the album. And I hope people enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. Absolutely. Look, you've had a fantastic life and career. And wow, I wish you every success with your EP and indeed the LP and everything when it all comes out. Absolutely brilliant. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, Barry. Thank you so much.
Claire.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Fall asleep, make a wish, and the bad goes. I can dream, can I?